Oh, what up, guys? Today we're going to be analyzing SunnyV2's newest video, Celebrities Who Unexpectedly Turned Their Life Around. Let's get right into it.
Out of every celebrity we'll cover in this video, there are a few who have fixed their life like Robert Downey Jr. Between 1996 and 2001, he was arrested on 6 separate occasions for some crazy different reasons. By this point, he'd already been a famous actor for roughly 10 years, although this didn't stop a judge from giving him 3 years in prison. Upon release, he managed to land a single TV show role, which he was then fired from after police arrested him again, this time for walking around LA under the influence without any shoes on. Given this also resulted in Robert Downey Jr.'s divorce, it's no surprise he'd state it was my lowest point in terms of addictions. At that stage, I didn't care whether or not I ever acted again, although thankfully this didn't happen. He'd appear on Oprah stating,
and I said, you know what, I don't think I can continue doing this. And I reached out for help and I ran with it. It's not that difficult to overcome these seemingly ghastly problems. What's hard is to decide.
Although with his reputation in the dumps, the only role he could land was in an Elton John music video, and when he did return to the big screen a full 2 years later, producers withheld 40% of Robert Downey Jr.'s income to ensure he wouldn't relapse midway through filming. Only 7 years after being released from prison, Robert Downey Jr. was cast as Tony Stark in Iron Man, which grossed almost $600 million at the box office and paved his way.
Holy shit. I didn't even know Robert Downey Jr. before he was in types of movies like Iron Man. Like, not at all. Not in anything that I can remember. I have to see what he was in. Going to prison. Like, what time was he going to prison? Oh. Okay, his oldest movies are down here. Where was the Avengers, Iron Man 3? Wasn't he in Iron Man 1? Oh yeah, he was. Okay. Oh shit, he was acting way back here. So he was like a fucking gangster when he was still acting, basically. Jesus Christ. I don't know what he got arrested for. But dang. Okay, guys. So he's been acting since 1970. I've only heard about him since fucking, I don't know, Iron Man 1 or whatever. And I guess that's when he got out of trouble. Jeez. He was a gangsta. Unless the things he was in trouble for wasn't gangsta.
Way for another 7 Marvel movies, although Samuel L. Jackson's turnaround might be even cooler. He'd met his alcoholic father only 2 times in his life, and having grown up in a broken home, it's no surprise that Samuel L. Jackson became an alcoholic himself. In his early 20s, he was booted from 2 plays on Broadway for his substance abuse problem.
That's why he can fucking act so well, like, kind of like an alcoholic dude, like in Pulp fucking Fiction. Remember how he acted in Pulp Fiction? He was a professional, but he was kind of like, it kind of seemed like that professional was still an alcoholic. Kind of like a detective could still be an alcoholic, you know, and just sneak the whiskey. And if they get caught, they just get fired. But they're the detective.
And by his early 40s, he was still an unknown actor with no money and a heroin problem. Samuel L. Jackson finally attended rehab at the age of 43, and amazingly, only 1 week after doing so, he'd star in a movie called Jungle Fever, which just so happened to be his major breakout role.
Once I got clean, everything kind of changed. The correlation between my career changing and me getting straight.
His major breakout role wasn't until after 43? I thought the opposite of Samuel L. Jackson. I thought this fucking guy has been broken out since forever. Because I feel like I've seen him everywhere. Oh my god, dude, I'm tripping out. 43.
Is very clear.
In just a couple of years after getting clean, Samuel L. Jackson starred in Jurassic Park, Star Wars, and Pulp Fiction, which then turned into another 6 Tarantino movies and his role in every single Avengers film.
See, I saw him in like all those Tarantino movies and stuff. I didn't think he was 43, but I assumed since he was in all those movies, he was like been crazy acting way before that. What the hell? He made his breakout in 43. It makes to show that you're never too old to chase your fucking dreams. Hell yeah, good job, Samuel L. Jackson.
Despite finding no success until the age of 43, Samuel L. Jackson has grossed more than any other actor in human history, with Robert Downey Jr. being right behind him in rank number 2. This is good evidence that success is proportionate to struggle, which is a point often talked about by Oprah Winfrey. She was born to a single teenage mum who was living off welfare on a farm in Mississippi, and as a result she was primarily raised by her grandmother, who dressed Oprah in stitched together potato sacks and whipped her for reasons as petty as playing with the family's drinking water.
You get whipped, then they'd be annoyed that you were still sulking about it. You better wipe that frown off your face.
It's therefore
what type of fucking grandma is that? That they're like, I don't know how to say it properly, man, but they're like buying into the worst fucking culture, basically. So fucking weird. Jesus. Yo, but you know, I feel like every fucking seriously rich person has their own crazy sob story. I'm not saying hers isn't true, but maybe sometimes it's a little bit over exaggerated. Like Trump says, I wasn't given shit and he was given $1 million, so that's still something. He made a lot out of it or whatever, but that was his point. That he made a lot from it, but he shouldn't have said nothing, you know. So it was still, yeah, he did good. He became president, and that had nothing to do with the $1 million or whatever. But he fucking got $1 million given to him. He didn't get shit. So that's my point. Some of these, and I don't care about politics. I'm just saying, like, sometimes some of these things seem kind of crazy.
No surprise that Oprah had run away from home at the age of 13, although this would lead to her first job as a part-time news reporter, which she was then fired from shortly thereafter.
I only came to co-host a talk show because I had failed at news.
With nowhere else to go, Oprah joined one of Chicago's lowest-rated TV shows, which then became the city's highest-rated talk show less than 2 months later, thanks to her presence.
Okay, so I get all this whole thing. This thing's about how they were doing bad before they got famous. This is kind of like a before they were famous video. He just titled it something more interesting and something more documentary, like, okay, this is just a before they were famous. Let's not get fooled by this. Good thing this is only 3 minutes in that I could call that out.
Her contribution was so important, the show was not only named after her, but would also become the most popular talk show in American history only 2 years later. In 2003, at the age of 49, Oprah ranked as one of the world's 500 richest people, also becoming the first black billionaire in human history, and while that's a redemption almost impossible to top, Fergie might come close. Despite graduating from high school as a straight A student, Fergie began using crystal meth every day at the age of 26, causing her to drop down to 90 pounds or 40 kilos, stating, "The drugs thing, it was a hell of a lot of fun until it wasn't."
What if that was fucking on purpose for her fucking image, and she was so dedicated to her image, she was like, I have to do this. That's kind of how I am, man. Fuck.
Given she experienced psychosis, dementia, and even hallucinations on a daily basis.
I started getting really paranoid. I went one day into this church, and I thought that the FBI and the SWAT teams were outside of the church.
Although this episode in the church also happened to be her turning point.
And I said, if I go out there and the FBI and the SWAT team's not out there, then it's the drugs, and I'm stopping. So obviously I went outside of the church, and there was no SWAT team.
Did you keep your promise?
I kept my promise.
Yeah, that was it.
That was it.
Fergie kicked her meth addiction in 2002, just months before joining the Black Eyed Peas, where she'd find unbelievable success with Where Is the Love only 1 year later. Fergie has since had a child, built a net worth of $45 million, and is almost 22 years clean. But while Fergie had to wean herself off only one drug, Drew Barrymore had to do so with many. Despite coming from an extremely famous Hollywood family and landing one of the lead roles in E.T. at the age of 7, Drew Barrymore was an alcoholic by age 11, a drug addict by age 12, put in a mental institution at age 13, and was legally divorced from her parents by her 14th birthday.
Yeah, but can you be an alcoholic by 11? Like, how much alcohol can you drink before you die at 11? I mean, maybe for that age, like, one shot can be considered an alcoholic. Because, God, that's just an 11-year-old girl. And then drug addict. What the fuck is this drama queen talking about, man? What did she do? Smoke weed once? Jesus. I mean, I'm sure it was more than that, but I'm exaggerating, kind of like he is exaggerating to make a point, bruh. And she probably said all this shit, so he gets to say it better than me. But she is probably over exaggerating to make a point, and I can only speculate, and that's no fucking fair. But how much of a drug addict can you be at 12? Although I used to live in a really bad neighborhood, and maybe like a 13-year-old tried to sell me some drugs before, but they weren't a drug addict. And I think if they were, I don't know how much I don't know if they would be able to walk up to me and do that, right? As a little kid. I can see alcohol and weed, because getting crossfaded is dank as fuck, going to the beach with your homies. But I don't know if you can call that a drug addict. I think that's just a teenager.
She was therefore blacklisted from Hollywood at age 15, was cleaning toilets to make ends meet at 16, and by her 27th
Blacklisted from Hollywood, that means she was famous as fuck just because that E.T. movie.
birthday, she'd been married and divorced twice. Addiction had always been a major family problem.
Almost all of her ancestors were alcoholics.
And would even lead to her doing a nude Playboy shoot in 1995, which would actually become a significant turning point. Steven Spielberg just so happened to be her godfather, and would send Drew Barrymore a blanket for her 20th birthday, attaching a letter with the message "Cover yourself up," also including the original Playboy images, which were altered to make her look fully clothed. From here, she made the choice to return to Hollywood, appearing in minor roles until her casting in The Wedding Singer roughly 3 years later. This then turned into 50 First Dates and Charlie's Angels, making her one of the world's most well-known actresses, just like
Yo! So it's been going on from time and eternity. No porn type of shit hurted anybody's fucking career, because it's all fucking entertainment. It's all the same circle, bro.
Like Lindsay Lohan, although for a slightly different reason. The Parent Trap gave her worldwide fame at the age of only 12, and by her 20th birthday she'd acted in over 30 productions.
That's funny, that's what we just looked at.
However, it'd be during one of these movies called Georgia Rule that a letter was leaked implying that Lindsay's life was spiraling out of control. It read, "Dear Lindsay, you have frequently failed to arrive on time to the set. Today you did not show for work all day. I'm now told you don't plan to come to work tomorrow because you are not feeling well. We are well aware that your ongoing all-night heavy partying is the real reason for your so-called exhaustion. We refuse to accept bogus excuses for your behavior. Today your actions on Georgia Rule have been discourteous, irresponsible, and unprofessional. You have acted like a spoiled child, and in doing so have alienated many of your co-workers and endangered the quality of this picture. Moreover, your actions have resulted in hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage. We will not tolerate these actions any further." The producer who sent this letter later stated she came to work every day after that. However, Lindsay's personal problems were only getting started. Just months after the letter went public, Lindsay checked herself into rehab for the first time, although this didn't seem to make much difference, as she was then then arrested for driving under the influence. Over the following 6 years, Lindsay was arrested a total of 6 different times while she'd state, "It is clear to me that my life has become completely unmanageable because I'm addicted to alcohol and drugs." As a result, she'd lose contact with her family and attend court-ordered rehab a total of 6 times, while almost every movie she was cast in during this period was a complete and utter flop. But as the negativity began to stack up, so did Lindsay's desire to get sober.
Was it over a period of time or all of a sudden that maybe I do have a problem?
Over a period of time.
And in 2014, she chose to document the process in an 8-part series with Oprah.
My main objective is, to maintain my sobriety.
And have you been sober since
yes,
we last
I have.
met?
Yeah.
The show was given awful reviews. However, Lindsay Lohan was finally back on the straight and narrow. She'd moved to Dubai that very same year because there's a certain calmness that I find in Dubai. There's no paparazzi, no cameras, that's a big deal for me.
Yo, but I thought Lindsay Lohan never made a fucking comeback. What the fuck?
Not to mention the strict culture has helped her to stay sober.
You don't see people going to liquor stores and drinking and that kind of thing. You can go out and have fun, but it's a different kind of fun that you have.
Lindsay has since fixed the relationship with her parents, gotten married, had a child, and even returned to the big screen. But while Lindsay's dark period could have likely been avoided, Liam Neeson's was tragically thrown upon him. Having found success with every type of movie you can think of, Liam Neeson and his family had seemingly the perfect life. However, on the 18th of March 2009, all of this changed unexpectedly. Liam Neeson's wife, Natasha Richardson, was taking a beginner ski class in Canada when she fell and hit her head. The fall wasn't bad enough for her to ask for medical attention, so she'd simply return to her hotel room and tell Neeson she'd taken a tumble in the snow. Well, it turns out her brain had been bleeding the entire time, and after experiencing a splitting headache, she was rushed to the hospital and pronounced dead shortly thereafter. Neeson's final words to his wife were, "Sweetie, you're not coming back from this. You've banged your head. I don't know if you can hear me, but this is what's gone down," while one of their sons stated, "It was so sudden. When it's unexpected and it's just a complete freak accident, it really sort of messes with your mind whether you believe in fate or not."
Yo, that's such a fucked up last fucking thing to say. You've banged your head. I don't think you know if you can hear me, but that's not what's gone down. Sweetie, you're not coming back from this. That's sounding like he almost hopes for it. Like, what the fuck? That's like heart-wrenching, dude. Terrible. Alright, guys, looks like there's no commercials somehow. So, I'm gonna go ahead and smoke this bowl. It's nightcap time, bruh.
She was a terrific mother. Neeson never remarried after the incident. However, he and his son played the 2 main roles in a movie called Made in Italy, the synopsis of which being almost identical to what they'd gone through in real life. Liam Neeson notably states in the movie,
"Disappointment is an absolute certainty. Everyone lets everyone down at some point. How you come back from that, that's romance."
with this redemption only being rivaled by Macaulay Culkin. After starring in Home Alone at the age of only 10, Macaulay Culkin became the world's most famous child star.
Everybody knows he turned into like some drug addict, some normal guy, maybe even got a normal job. Yeah. Well, but how did he make his comeback?
Everything he does, in spite of being very young.
However, as Culkin became an adult, he'd go through many periods of turbulence. For starters, Macaulay Culkin's success ruined the relationship he had with his father.
Everything that he tried to do in his life, I excelled at, before I was 10 years old.
While his earnings of $23.5 million before his 15th birthday also caused his parents' divorce in that very same year.
But as the money pours in, the Culkin family falls apart.
In the process, Macaulay began to experiment.
I wanted to drink 40s and get laid and smoke pot. That's what I wanted to do, and that's what I did.
And in 2004, he was arrested and briefly jailed for possession of weed.
What? Jailed for possession of cannabis? 2004? What the fuck? I guess 2006 is when it was legal. Holy shit. Damn, for cannabis though. Jeez, and they made him seem like so much worse this whole time. That's what it was all about this whole time. And now this guy, talk about drama farming, is saying, yeah, he's making his big comeback. That's because everybody at first bought in the drama that he was some crazy drug addict. Dude, he went to jail for cannabis.
Home Alone star 24 was given 1-year deferred sentences on each of the charges in order to pay $540 in fees, after which the tabloid press took this photo and accused Macaulay of taking even harder drugs. He'd respond by stating, no, I was not pounding 6 grand of heroin every month or whatever, although at the same time he would talk about drugs by stating, I do love them, they're like old friends, but sometimes you outgrow your friends, and it's therefore no surprise that Culkin has since gotten sober. I wouldn't be the person I am today if I hadn't had drugs in my life at some point or another. I had some illuminating experiences, but it's also effing stupid. So besides the occasional muscle relaxer, no, I don't do drugs recreationally.
You're remarkably normal.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I know, people are always struck at how normal I am. I'm like, just like, wow, really? I think my
you
reputation.
Made it through the maze
I guess
of being
so.
a famous child.
Okay. Joe Rogan, I guess he did make it back. Guys, if you enjoyed that video, you can go check it out on SunnyV2's channel. Celebrities who unexpectedly turned their life around. I don't know how any of them were unexpected. They were celebrities in the first place, which means they had it in them. But you can go check that video out. Click subscribe below.